welcome back to Study With Additti. My name is Additti and this channel is dedicated to revision tips and tricks along with much more to help make your schooling life a whole lot easier. So today I'm going to be doing another book review. It's an economics book, of course, and if you don't already know, this series is for anyone that wants to get into economics at university or economics and management, similar subject, and it's also for anyone that just wants to know about the economics world and wants to read about economics. So I have been reading some economics books, and this series is just for you to see if they're of your liking and if you want to read them, basically. So the book I'm going to be reviewing today is Talking to My Daughter, A Brief History of Capitalism, and that is by Yanis Varoufakis. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I'm just going to be doing a chapter by chapter summary of the entire book. I'll give some feedback of my own, but yeah, just to say I do have notes with me. So if I look down at any point, that is what I'm looking at. So this book's got 8 chapters and I'm going to be covering them all. It's also got a prologue and an epilogue, but I won't be covering those because I think that if you want to read the book, I think that you should have stuff to read yourself as well, if that makes sense. So yeah, chapter 1 is called Why So Much Inequality, chapter 2 is The Birth of the Market Society, and chapter 3 is The Marriage of Debt and Profit. So chapters 1 to 3 give you the brief history of capitalism that it says in the cover. Chapter 4 is called The Black Magic of Banking, and personally I really like this chapter because I'm thinking of going into finance in the future, but I think it was a very strong chapter in general. And even on the back of my edition, there is a quote from the Financial Times, and it says, "Those seeking to better understand the black magic of bankers should look no further." So I think this book really covered this topic quite well in this chapter. In this chapter, he also uses a time travel metaphor, where he describes taking out a business loan as borrowing exchange value from the future and dragging it into the present. And he goes on to talk about how bankers seem to conjure up money from thin air and how they do that, what's their process. It's not just black magic, as they say. He also covers the role of the state and the role of debt in the economy. You see, debt is indispensable for capitalism, but it's also debt that can lead to economic crisis. So just that paradox is really interesting to learn about in this book. Chapter 5 is called Two Edible Markets, and the chapter starts off with a story. It's a story about Varoufakis' friend trying to sell a summer home. He says he's unable to sell it, but Varoufakis offers to buy it for €10. And actually, the point of that story is that Varoufakis' friend, it's not that he can't sell the home, it's just he can't sell the home for the price that he wants. So there's actually a difference between the two, and his logic there also applies to a concept which Varoufakis calls unemployment deniers. He also goes on to say that labour is a commodity, but it's a commodity that relies on consumer and business confidence, what Keynes would call animal spirits, if you have ever done economics A-level or just studied Keynes before, and that's just confidence in the economy, obviously, of consumers and businesses. Chapter 6 is called Haunted Machines, and it focuses on mechanization, automation, and just technology in general. It focuses especially on how machines are supposed to be taking over the jobs of humans, especially in sectors such as farming, where a lot of it is now done by machines where it used to be done by humans and they had that job before. And Varoufakis describes a way in which that everyone can benefit from this mechanization, and it's through redistributing the riches that these machines can produce. So that's chapter 6. And chapter 7 is called The Dangerous Fantasy of Apolitical Money. This chapter is about inflation and the supply of money. So say if you have a large money supply, it diminishes the value of the pound, let's say in the UK, meaning that you need more pounds in order to buy what you'd want, meaning that inflation has gone up. And then if the money supply was small, then you would need less money, less pounds, to buy what you want, meaning that inflation has decreased. And he uses the example of prisoner of war camps during World War II to effectively demonstrate how an economy works. The prisoners received Red Cross packages, and they contain like coffee, tea, cigarettes. I think there was a bar of chocolate as well. And it became clear that not everyone wanted like the coffee, the tea, the bar of chocolate. So it was seen that the Englishmen wanted tea over coffee, and I think the Frenchmen wanted coffee over tea. So because of that, trading started to happen, meaning that things would get sold. Just the story that he goes through in those few pages really demonstrates how the economy works. The last chapter, chapter 8, is called Stupid Viruses with a question mark. And this chapter is about how the economy benefits from the planet suffering. So for example, let's say in Brazil there's deforestation, but there is so much economic benefit from that deforestation. It just shows that the more the planet suffers, the more economic benefit there is. If there's no economic incentive, then what needs to happen won't happen. So obviously in this example, if there's no economic incentive to save the planet, to stop global warming, then it's not going to happen. So I think that's a really strong chapter to end on, because it really gets you thinking about how we can stop global warming yet have an economic incentive. So I just wanted to say a few things about the book. This book is called Talking to My Daughter and then a Brief History of Capitalism, because it's made accessible. He does not use economic jargon. He also writes in second person as if he's addressing you, like being the daughter, which I think is different and original, and it really takes these big economic concepts down to bare bones. And throughout the book he alludes to literature, Greek mythology and pop culture, just to make it that much more interesting for the reader. So it's not just economics, which is also really refreshing. In all, I'd say this is a good book to read, especially because it's so short as well. It's really not that long, but it's got a lot of interesting stuff, and it's been made accessible, especially for a teenage daughter. So I think that even if you don't have any background in economics, it's a really good read to open up your mind to the economic world around you. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If there are any requests for any videos you'd like me to make, please put them in the comments, DM me on Instagram, just find a way to contact me and I'll see what I can do. I've got a few more videos coming up on some economics books. If you haven't already, please do subscribe and hit the bell icon while you're at it. Thank you very much for watching, and bye!
Shake the streets lit, bro.